The Chicago Bears had the final day of minicamp, and there are a lot of takeaways to talk about from Chicago Bears minicamp. You got Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson seem more locked in than ever before. The things that we're hearing about Caleb Williams' leadership and during a 2-minute drill, you got Zavion Thomas continue to making it almost impossible for this coaching staff not to play him, even despite him not being maybe the wide receiver 3. And we're going to talk about why Bears fans need to get over their Bears fan PTSD when we dive into the mailbag. All that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So we're going to talk about the final day of the final takeaways from the final day of Bears minicamp. But before we get into that, I need all of you guys that are watching this video to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. About 45% of you guys that watch every single day are not yet subscribed to the channel. It costs nothing to subscribe. I want to make it clear. Some people think I mean the memberships when I say subscribe. No, I mean just hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. You have to do nothing, pay nothing to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers by the start of the 2026 season. We can only do that with your guys' help. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson reportedly are completely locked in together and are seeing things the same way. We have talked a lot about over the last, basically since started to the end of last season, middle of last season, your quarterback and your play caller need to see the game the same way. And especially when your play caller is also your head coach, that's extremely important about it. And one of the things that has stood out this year about Bears minicamp versus other years is that not only are Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams seeing the game the right way, is that, they both are getting on it. The offense couldn't break the huddle correctly during a pre-snap penalty. They were out of control last season. That has been totally different this year. And that's really what you want to see, right? Johnson and Williams have both spoke to the media, and when they talk, it's almost the same thing, right? You see Ben Johnson saying things like this. It goes back to my first conversation I had with Caleb, and those were he wants to win here in Chicago, and he wants to win Super Bowls. And that was really a motivating factor. He's been really clear and consistent with that message over the last year and a half, and I've gotten to know him. And so in order to do that, that's what we're pursuing. You love hearing that, right? That they are pursuing what it takes to win a Super Bowl. Now, there's a lot that needs to go into that, even more so than just Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. But to have those two entities on the same page, it goes a long way. And then for Caleb Williams' side, when he talked about it, he said this. Finishing each other's sentences. He's obviously a lot more mature than me. He's older than me by many years, so he brings a lot of wisdom to me. His information, his knowledge, his wisdom, and the things like that, it goes a long way. I'm 110% in on whatever he says. Let's just be clear with that, right? When's the last time, and let's just be honest with this, when was the last time that we felt like a Chicago Bears head coach and the quarterback were on the same page and locked in that manner, right? And I get it. It's words. People say the right thing. If you say the wrong thing, it kind of stands out more than saying the right thing at this stage when the pads aren't on, you're not getting, your face kicked in every day. But I think that this is something that when you talk about Chicago building a different culture than what we've had here for so long, this is one of the things that can get you there. And so as this relationship continues to develop between Ben and Caleb, and hopefully we see this relationship continue to flourish and grow for years and years and years to come, that's special. Like those two guys being in sync, it then makes it easier for the offense to get in sync, because when your quarterback is seeing the plays the same way as your head coach, the one who's calling the plays, then the confidence level can rise over everybody around them. And this offense, if it's going to make the next step this year, it's going to be a large part because of the relationship between Ben. But let's talk about, it's not just the relationship between those guys. The leadership from Caleb Williams as well has been perfect in regards to this. On Thursday's practice, it was reported that it was more of a light day, so that's why the takeaways aren't as big from it. But it seems like Caleb Williams was pushing this offense, even on what was a lighter day, to be perfect, right? The media that was there, notice how vocal he was during the 2-minute drill to keep the drive alive. And those little things can go unnoticed, but when you set that standard and that expectation, even before the games matter and before you even have the pads fully on, that's what it gets down to, right? You had Luther Burden, who was called down short at the end zone, and listen, like Luther Burden thought he scored and decided to celebrate while the clock still ticked, and Caleb Williams was not having that. He got right on Luther Burden about that, barked at him to get back in line so they can spike the ball, and that's like, when you do those things in practice, that's when you were going to see the results of that in real life, right? And, Zach Pearson, who was, there in attendance, he's from the Bear Report. He said that he believed the play would have wound up being a touchdown in a real game, but Williams wasn't taking any chances, and that it was a reminder of the command that Williams has in the huddle and how demonstrative he can be. That's great, man. You want you want to get excited about this type of stuff. So again, like I've said with OTAs, you want to take everything, with a grain of salt in it. You don't want to act like it's going to be one for one once the pads are back on. But I tell you what, things are going in the right way. You know what else is going in the right way for the Chicago Bears is Zavion Thomas. This one comes from Ben Johnson as well, who said this: if we can harness all his energy, we could really use him, and he could be a big weapon for us this year. At every step in OTAs, at every step, every day of minicamp, Zavion Thomas has been one of the highlight players for the Chicago Bears, right? When you look at what's been shared to social media, all that, he has that type of game. I won't be surprised if, we talk, like we share one Zavion Thomas highlight every couple of games, right? Like, again, I do think realistically he's gonna share those wide receiver 3 duties. Khalif Raymond seems like he's the one to a shoe-in to win the wide receiver 3, and that's perfectly fine. And it goes back to what I originally said about Zavion Thomas. He has to make the most out of his opportunities and his snaps this year, because they may not come as consistent as what is going to come from some other players this year. But Zavion Thomas, the thing that I question and the challenge I put in front of him is that you have to force this coaching staff to look at you and say, we got to play this guy. We got to find packages. We got to get situations to try to put the ball in this guy's hands. And with Ben Johnson saying that they have to find a way to harness that, Thomas has flashed as a receiver, yards after the catch, deep threat, diving catches, all that type of stuff. He's wowed in the return game as well. So this goes back to, like I said, those Bears fans that heard him be a gadget player and made that initially make them think that this guy isn't going to have some actual real developmental skills. I get it. It's Bears fan PTSD for sure because of that. But listen, he has more than just a gadget player. And yeah, Khalif Raymond has also been everything he's been advertised to be, everything Ben Johnson wanted him to be as a veteran wide receiver 3 on this team. But between Jahdae Walker, between Khalif Raymond, between Zavion Thomas, these guys are coming they're coming to make an impact for the Bears this year. So, he's given and almost at this point, I want to talk more than just about the speed, because it's about what he does with the speed after he gets the ball. That's the difference. And so it's really good. Rookie flash in minicamp and OTAs is one thing. Once we get into the consistent part of the NFL season, can you consistently execute at the NFL level? That's what we're going to see. Also, Ben Johnson's creativity in the offense, right? One of the things that we've talked a lot about is how Ben Johnson does use trick plays, right? And one thing that he's done is he's involved the linemen in it. He had the offensive linemen running routes. And, some people may say that just is some fun. And it is. Like, be clear. It is a little bit of fun. It's to keep everybody engaged. It's to have that fun nature. It's to build that community with your team when you're doing fun things like that in mini camps. That's great. But having linemen run drills, it does more than just that, right? It seems like a light mini camp moment, but it also is. We've seen him use linemen creatively before. Darnell Wright and Theo Benedict have caught passes before, right? And they've like, not to say you're going to see a lot of that in the regular season, but do not be surprised if you see some trickery from Ben Johnson. We've seen it before, right? Ben Johnson also wants every player on this offense to understand what the other players are doing. That way, you kind of know better. If you've been out there running routes in practice, you understand how much more important it is to lock in your block because you've done those routes. So it is. Ben Johnson is going to create a system here where opposing defenses have to prepare for everything. And when you make defensive coordinators and players have to think about what you're going to do and maybe second guess the package that they're out in, that works out so much. There's so many hidden possible advantages for this team that could be ridiculous. And we haven't talked a lot throughout all this OTA period about DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. So, like, you talk about lining those guys up in crazy places as well. Like, this offense is going to be very fluid, right? And then one of the biggest takeaways you can say as well that can go overlooked is something important. The Bears have gotten through minicamp without adding any major new injuries. And that is a big piece of it too. You don't want to add injuries. We're still trying to get over injuries in some places. We haven't done that. Dioda Yingbo, TJ Edwards, both progressing, right? And that's a good thing. You got DeMarco Jackson, who had a mounting issue. He got back out there. Kyler Gordon still remains a frustration point for the fact that he's not healthy yet. His availability does remain one of the biggest questions for the defense coming out of OTAs and minicamp. But I do think a healthier defense alone does so much to raise the ceiling of what the Bears can be this year, right? So entering this season with much better health, specifically in your secondary than what you had last year. Hopefully your linebackers, much better health, and then you have better depth there. Also, that's going to go a long way. And we didn't even talk about the safeties and the benefits that we've seen there with the new safety crew. So this Bears team, I get it. We didn't make the flash moves. We didn't do those type of things. But I think what it says right now is that this team is really getting to a place where things are starting to stand out. And so when you talk about winners, Dylan Thieneman, a huge winner so far for the Chicago Bears. Got a sack on Caleb Williams as well. Made plays out in coverage. You love seeing that. Zavion Thomas, Jalen Johnson have both stand out. We just talked about Zavion Thomas. You got Jalen Johnson reportedly looking back like Pro Bowl Jalen, which does a lot for this team. I will say this. One of the players I'm concerned about that hasn't been on the field is Shamar Turner. We've heard that they want to use Shamar Turner as an edge and on the interior, but he has not been ready for training camp after the ACL injury last year. And it does, and Ben Johnson saying that he doesn't know when Shamar Turner is going to be back yet is a bit of a concern there. Like I've seen some Bears fans already kind of try to label him a bust and call him a bust and things like that. But I'm not going to say that until we get into the regular season. But I really do want to see Shamar Turner get some opportunity out there, and he can only do that if he heals up. And so let's hope that we see that move in the right direction for the Bears. But enough of me yapping. It's time for the mailbag. It is Friday. That means it is mailbag day here at Chicago Bears Central. Let's get into this first one, man. This one's from Darius.
What's happening, guys? Darius from Dallas, man. I already called in this week, but, my brother Haize keep on taking shots at me, so I got to get on and defend myself one last time. It won't be the last time at all. But with this Ben Johnson thing, yes, I did doubt him at first, but you know what you're doing, Haize. I don't know if y'all ever had like a big brother that just know how to get up under your skin, and he'll do shit like just walk in the room and cut the lights off, or he'll see you walking around with a basketball in your hand, just knock it out for no reason. That's what Haize is. But I just wanted to explain and clear that up for the people. Okay. Yes, I did at first, didn't want Ben Johnson, but that's because I've been through Mark Trestman and Matt Nagy, PTSD. Okay. And I saw that Ben Johnson didn't have no coaching experience, and it just felt really Nagy-esque to me to welcome that guy in. And Vrabel ended up taking a terrible team to the Super Bowl. So I don't think I was that far in left field, by saying I prefer Vrabel, even though, I do like, Ben Johnson a lot, man. And what I liked the most about him is he knows how to develop quarterbacks. He has done wonders with Caleb in a way that I've never seen anybody do that in Chicago. So, I mean, even Lovey couldn't develop the quarterback. So, since when Dicker was coaching, it was probably the last time we had a true, talented leader at quarterback. So, no, I give Ben Johnson all the credit in the world now. But it is what it is, man. Hey, at least I'm one of them Bears fans where if I'm wrong, I'll come back and let you know I'm wrong. I'm not going to keep on sitting up here rooting for Ben Johnson to do bad just so I can say I told you so. You know that. But since we picking at people, let's talk about your boy Gervon Dexter. Okay. Now you've been hyping him up since he got drafted like he's Warren Sapp. So, I think I need about 7 to 8 sacks out of him this year, or we kick his ass to the curb. It just is what it is, particularly when we need interior line defense. And I just really want to get away from, as a team, getting away from these guys that have all the intangible things, have the potential, but then we don't see it on the field. Like, I'm tired of that. Jalen Johnson, same thing with him. It looks like he's doing good so far, but bro, until you are playing on the field like a top corner, stop talking about money. I don't even want to hear it no more. But let me know what y'all think, man. Oh, by the way, man, go White Sox, bro. Go White Sox, fuck the Cubs. Texas up, bear down.
That's exactly what I was doing. I gotta mess with you. I gotta mess with you, bro. Like, but you touched on a really serious point there. Bears fans have Bears fan PTSD. There's a legit. It's real, and I truly do think that, that Bears fans have been through so much that you kind of have to understand the PTSD. But I love the part that stands out about Ben Johnson is that he's proven it, right? Is that he got fired up. Like, yeah, having doubts, and I'm not really judging you for some doubts that you had about Ben Johnson because he was an unproven commodity, but he's coming here and proving that it's not just about talk. He's established expectations, and he's building a real culture here in Chicago, and you got to love that for the Bears and what that means. So I appreciate you taking it in stride. But as far as your Gervon Dexter hyperbole kill, see, the difference is when I kill you about your Ben Johnson take is that's legitimately what you said. Trying to use hyperbole, say that I act like he's Warren Sapp. No, but Gervon Dexter is a perfectly serviceable starting center. Let's just talk about what he's done. He out of almost 200, I'm starting tackle. Out of 200 qualifying defensive tackles, he ranked 31st in solo tackles, 29th in assists, 27th in forced fumbles, 44th in stops, 9th in sacks with 7. As you said, you want to see 7.5 sacks with him. 27th in hurries, 20th in hits, 19th in total pressure, so in the top third of the league in regards to that, and 75th in batted passes. Gervon Dexter is a perfectly serviceable starting center, but he's not I still say center, starting defensive tackle, but he's not a great defensive tackle. And people who think that, like, not everybody's going to be a top 10, top 15 player. He's a perfectly serviceable starting defensive tackle in this league. And that is, and the chances of you getting somebody that's better than him is slim to none because not every defensive tackle, like I just said, he is top half of the league amongst all starting defensive tackles at his position. There's a big chance you're not going to get that by somebody that you're going to need to replace him. Now, you want to try, if you can do that, you get it, and you do, and you hope that the person that you put next to him is going to be stronger where he's weaker at, and then you have balance in that. But there's no doubt that Gervon Dexter needs to get better as a run stopper. He absolutely, if he gets better as a run stopper, then you probably do that improvement will probably put him more towards a top 30-ish, a top 20-ish defensive tackle. But Gervon Dexter, despite what some people will tell you, he's a perfectly serviceable defensive tackle, and not serviceable, starting level defensive tackle. And people who act like he's not, they just want to see something that you don't see from most starting defensive tackles. But he got to shore up that run stopping for sure. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Vaughn.
Good. Hey, this is Vaughn from Indianapolis. I'll try to be a little quicker than I normally am with this call. First and foremost, I was wondering if you thought that there's behind this, door conversations between Kevin Warren, who's technically not a football guy, and Ryan Poles and Jeff King, who I believe was like the director of pro scouting, and then one other guy, I can't think of his name, said he has heavy input in pro scouting. Who's holding Poles and the pro scouting department accountable for the bad money with the aging Grady Jarrett, who recently came off an ACL tear, and a guy like Dio Adangbo? So I'm just, really, really curious if you think there's closed door conversations holding these pro personnel guys accountable, because this is horrible money. Again, I know you got to spend so much of the cap, but, to go after an aging guy like Grady Jarrett and a guy like Dio, who, gave him a boatload of money for a guy that was very average. And again, how much, I wonder, does Dennis Allen acquiring those? So that's my thought today is I hope and pray that come training camp, I'm not trying to find some Bosa or some guy that's, on the street for a reason. I'm hoping the Bears pull the trigger on a trade. And I'm hoping that they can, juggle the money enough to pull off a Kayvon Thibodeau or a Josh Sweat. And I guess this turns into a question too, Haize. Do you think either of these guys are realistic possibilities? I believe Thibodeau's playing on his 5th year, rookie deal, which is probably, less than $20 million. And Josh Sweat is at a very reasonable contract. He is 30, but I think he has a couple years left on that. So my second question would be, do you see either of these guys as realistic options? The Giants have a very crowded pass rush group, and the Cardinals seem to be going nowhere with that quarterback group. So do you think either of these guys will be made available on or around training camp? Keep doing your thing, man. Peace.
Here's the thing, man. Not all signings are going to work out. And I don't think it's about holding Ryan Poles or anybody accountable. The one thing that Ryan Poles did with this is that the deals aren't long-term. We can get out of both Grady Jarrett and and Dioting's both contract at the end of the year without it being much of a cap hit, at the same time where the roster is in more flux and you have more flexibility overall. So there was some thought process in that, right? Now, I do say this, like at some points, beggars can't be choosers. Like the Bears were unproven. And I don't think a lot of like proven talent was really trying to come to the Bears. Now, hopefully, with what the Bears have done with the establishing stuff with Ben Johnson and stuff like that, that has now changed the next time the Bears go out on the open market. But it is what it is there. As far as the Bears pulling off a major trade, I think that if you're still hoping that a major trade happens before training camp, it's highly unlikely. Now, maybe at the trade deadline, but prior to training camp, I don't think it's going to be likely. Like, yeah, you name some valid players that could be available. I just don't know if if Ryan Poles is going to make that big swing trade yet, personally. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you guys. With that being said, let's get to it. So, you hear the different reports coming back from OTAs and the minicamp and everything like that. Every time I think about OTAs and I think about the positivity and what we see and what we want to happen and what we know is going to happen, I always look at it like spring ball. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but an elevated version of spring ball for me. Everything going to be good. My thing is I always look forward to when them pads come on and everything like that. So Jalen Johnson, I think he's starting to, at least from the reports and what we're hearing, he's starting to look like himself. Sometimes you just have a year where injuries happen. That's a part of the game, man. And Haize, Bobby, T-Dub, Steve-O, Big Kev, I'm sure you guys played the game before. Any sport, injuries happen. That's how it is, and he's still a young dude. I think he's only about 27, 26. So with that, he is a sense of a veteran who I think can regain himself and knows the game and knows the ins and outs. And I think he'll be just fine. I'm still worried a little bit about Kyler Gordon. And I know they're taking their time and everything like that. Now, the position I played was defensive tackle. I never played DB. But I know that when you're an athlete like that and, you're using those fast twitch muscles and all those things, all I had was brute straight face. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's probably a little bit different than say if it was like a Gervon Dexter or Montez Sweat. You know what I mean? There's still parts that you use, but I think it's just at a different variety or different level. So I'm anticipating to see what really happens with Kyler Gordon. I ain't heard too many reports about Malik Muhammad. I want to see what he's doing with himself and everything like that. But one interesting thing too, Haize, I want you to piggyback on this. I watched a little bit of the press conference with Gervon Dexter. I got to go back over it. And how he's saying that the D-line don't need no help. For as much as he's talking, and he said that statement because it stuck out like a sore thumb, all I'm going to say is, Gervon Dexter, you better be the baddest motherfucker on the field, and y'all better be the bunch of baddest motherfuckers on the field. And I understand it's a new system, so year one may be a little different than year two, getting comfortable and all of that, but I just want to know, what do you think of that statement? What do you see for this defense? Because for me, I'm thinking with this offense, if we anywhere in top 15, we got a chance to make a run at the bowl. But as always, let me know what you think. Shot-town up, bear down, big dog.
I won't say everything has been good at mini camps and OTAs, but I do think I'm ready. I do agree I'm ready for the pads to be on, right? Injuries are injuries. You're going to suffer injuries. That's a part of the NFL season. Every team deals with it. The Bears were injury-ridden at such an important position under Dennis Allen's system with the cornerbacks last year that was almost crazy. And you hope that you just can't get another year like that statistically. You hope that you're not going to get that many injuries at the same position group again. But I'll say this, right? If the D-line and Gervon Dexter says the D-line's good, they don't need any help, all right, cool. Go out and prove it. Go out there and you better fucking prove it, to be frank. That's just the reality of it, right? And then this defense does get to the middle of the pack. Between 14 and 16, I agree with you. I think that this team could be something very special if they're able to get into that space. And let's see if they can do that. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Buck.
Hey, this is Buck, man. I'd like to say thank y'all for a good job y'all doing at Chicago Bears Central. Speaking about the defense, Haize, you got to keep in mind, we got to keep in mind that yesterday's home runs don't win games today. And when we look at the statistics of last year, we've had a flawed defense, man. It was a whole lot of factors kicked in, a lot of injuries. So one thing for sure, we know that Ryan Poles is gonna stick to his plan. So he's gonna ride these horses on out this year. And so we gotta just look for this defense to be better and improved. Some of them were injured, now they're back. Dio, we're gonna look for him to give us something. But he gonna give us something because we paying that money, so they're gonna throw him out there. He just gotta do the job. And it's also good to keep in mind that the reason we don't want to make no big splash move is because of next year. We're going to have 25 to 30 free agents. And so, all we got to do is get ready to load up. It's going to be, like Bobby said, don't get comfortable or fall in love with some of these players because they're going to be gone. The Bears aren't keeping nothing but the creme de la creme or the cream of the crop. So we want to make sure we be ready, play the best we got this year. And all I can say is bear down, Chicago Bears.
Defense can make an improvement because of better health, because of internal development. I think those are things that you can realistically see for this team and it help the defense make a necessary step, right? The Bears have been playing it patient, and I do think that patience for now, while you're waiting on players to develop, while you're waiting on contract extensions, that's perfectly fine and realistic, despite some fans thinking every offseason you need to make a splash move. But I do think eventually the big move needs to come if that internal development that you've been betting on doesn't hit the way that you want it to. And that's where the Bears could be as soon as next year. And we'll see if they do that. But, Ryan Poles is usually somebody that learns from his mistakes. And let's hope that he does that, continue to do that, because that's what puts the Bears in the best position. All right, let's get into this last voicemail that we have for today. This one's from Jay Capone.
Yo, you know what it is. It's your boy Jay Capone, a.k.a. Wheelchair John Morant. But anyway, man, I just want to say, man, Caleb, I gained a new respect for you, man. Like, I was a Justin Fields truther. I'm still a Justin Fields truther. But anyway, but I judged Caleb, and he made me eat crow. He made me eat my words, man, because he came in so clutch, man. And coming into the season, you know how you got that player you feel like you just good, you automatically good because you have all your trust in them, and they showed you time and time again why it's important to rely on them, and they're gonna come in clutch. Man, the Madden cover, bro, a Bears quarterback being on the Madden cover, that's never happened before. Man, I've been a Bears fan since like '04. Man, like that's never happened. But man, I'm so excited for this season. We gonna put a belt to ass every time, and I can't wait, man, because I was tired of being, a defensive team, and then we might have that one or two good plays on offense. But man, I'm excited, man. Being a Bears fan, I'm so excited because I get to talk my shit. And we got a coach. Who's a play caller, versatile. Man, oh my God. Okay, yeah. But, man, shout out to CBC. Man, shout out to the Bears fans out there, man. Man, good times is coming. Good times is coming. We pray for times like this, and it's on. We finna put belt to ass. And then we definitely finna put belt to ass to the Packers. Oh man, they be crying. But man, I just want to say, have a great weekend, everybody. Chi-town up, bear down. All right.
Caleb continues to earn the faith from the fan base. And that's what I like, right, is that he continues to earn it by what he's doing, how he's preparing, how he's improving, those type of things. And let's hope that we see another step from him this season, and it goes another step in helping improve that faith. If Caleb Williams gets that completion percentage together, you're talking about him being an elite category. Now that's an if, and it's a big if. He's going to have to prove it. And if he does, then at that point, all the haters are just hate at that point. If he proves it on the football field, all the criticism just turns into hate if you can't adjust your take based off what you're seeing on the field. But it is up to Caleb Williams to show that on the field, and let's see if he can do that. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. That's going to do it for another episode of Chicago Bears Central. Bears minicamp has officially wrapped, and now the countdown to training camp is on. The pads are coming soon. The real tests are coming, and now it's time for the team to prove all this talk about culture, chemistry, leadership, and growth isn't just off-season noise. It's something that we're going to see in the regular season. But I want to hear from you guys. Are you buying the Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson connection? How big of a role do you think Zavion Thomas has in the team next season as well? And what's your biggest concern heading into the full training camp for the Chicago Bears? Drop your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.